Yoda guys, good evening, welcome back to the Black Jersey. My name's Max and I'm the host of this channel. We have got some Bledisloe Cup drama to unfold in this video. A big thank you to my patrons, and remember, if you're new, to subscribe to my channel, like this video and comment your thoughts once you've finished it. Wow, we've just got so much to digest. I don't want to waste any more time. It was an incredible match, the best All Blacks game of this season, just a 2-point margin. What a match. Let's get right into things. I'm going to kick us off by starting with the All Blacks attack. The first try was scored by Samisoni Taukei'aho, and we did see a bit of innovation in the lead up to it. The first try was just brilliantly worked, having forced Australia into giving away the penalty. Taukei'aho threw the line out accurately as usual. The driving maul continues to improve with Jason Ryan as the forwards coach, and as you can see, this was never not going to be a try, with Taukei'aho pushed by Havili and Jordan joining the maul. The All Blacks though did have 50% possession, as we can see through the stats I gained off Ultimate Rugby. We'll touch on those later, so we did not actually see much attack at all from them until once again in the 35th minute. With that possession being pretty even, the All Blacks were finally able to generate something again. The small lineout sees Hoskins Sotutu of all players able to slot in at first receiver. Sotutu charges at Jake Gordon, but with no defenders on Gordon's right, Sotutu was able to make the most of the lineout participants still coming back on side. James Slipper is the most likely tackler, and so he's got no chance of getting Clark, as he is a tight 5 forward. They're not very quick compared to wingers. Clark is able to burst through as Gordon tackles Sotutu after Sotutu's offload, and here he should have passed it to Paya, but wingers do not pass a lot. Clark does manage to make it to about 10 meters from the try line. Tom Wright puts his hands into the ruck, and this works brilliantly for the All Blacks, who are awarded a penalty, and Tom Wright is yellow carded. Another incident does happen over here, but as you can see, I have made a separate video about the Darcy Swain incident, as I did have a lot to say. The penalty allows the All Blacks to kick for touch, though Jake Gordon holds up Taukei'aho as he attempts to score the try. At the start of the second half though, everything is okay. Taukei'aho is able to score again in a man of the match performance. Beauden Barrett covers fullback while Geordie moves to 12 while Quintu Paya is injured. For the first attacking play, Richie Mo'unga draws the Wallabies in before going wide to Bodie, who cross kicks to Jordan. With Australia reading the play, Jordan is forced to kick forward himself. The bounce works very well for the All Blacks though, as there is a massive gain. Australia attempts to set an attack, but with a brilliant contest of the ruck by Sotutu and Papali'i, Smith goes out to De Groot, who is used as the first receiver. With Retallick collecting the pass, there are 6 All Blacks against 3 Wallabies. Retallick delays his pass, and though it doesn't go wide, Foketi and Valentini are seen in a situation of indecision due to Whitelock, Geordie Barrett and Caleb Clark as outside options for Taukei'aho to potentially pass to. With Valentini forced to mark Whitelock, the world's biggest winger, Taukei'aho swats away Koroi Betty and carries 3 more defenders across the try line, scoring in tribute to the injured Tupaya. It would not be a video about the All Blacks at all if I did not mention Will Jordan either. We have to discuss this beautiful try over here. He didn't exactly have the best game, but I think a lot of the casuals will forgive him because of this try. As we can see, the Wallabies have 10 defenders in a flat line. 3 guys are at the bottom of the ruck for the Wallabies, while Mo'unga is with Whitelock and Clark on the pitch's left-hand side. Beauden Barrett, however, stands in at first receiver in the middle. With Barrett having moved up from fullback, Australia don't expect any kicks, hence why the 2 players in their backfield are out of frame. We notice though, Will Jordan rushes forward as the Wallaby defence advances forward themselves. With Geordie Barrett filling in on the wing, Jordan accepts accelerates to collect the chip kick by Beauden Barrett in a pre-planned move devised by the attack coach Joe Schmidt. This play is designed for the ball to land between the Wallabies' main defence line as well as their two backfield covers. With the Wallabies not really expecting a kick, they do in Ireland and they leave a monster amount of space in the backfield, allowing Jordan to collect the chip kick uncontested. This here is a clear weakness in the defence lines of South Africa than Ireland I've extensively covered before, and the Wallabies found themselves repeating this wee mistake over here. I really hope that South Africa and Ireland can watch this wee warning shot ahead of the World Cup. After Jordan gets the ball, Callaway, who is not a very good defender, puts possibly the softest tackle attempt of the game onto Jordan, who glides past White as well to score the try. I'm going to do a fair bit of talking about the Wallabies attack as well, because for once they actually played like a tier 1 nation, and they gave us a pretty good push in this match, so let's delve into that stuff. Australia's lineout was well and truly covered. As you can see in the 13th minute, they basically give up the drive immediately and revert to using Valentini in the 13 channel, as he is tackled by Richie Mwanga to get Australia some go forward. They commit some numbers to the ruck, something we didn't often see in Super Rugby. With all of Jake Gordon's options marked though, Tyrell Lomax is able to shut him down. As Australia know they can't generate anything off a drive, they overthrow it the next phase using Samu as a crash ball runner. However, Samu is the dummy runner off this line out and he goes to Tom Wright, who breaks the line. With Lalakai Foketi used as a screen runner to draw Mwanga's attention, Wright is able to break the line before being tackled by Rieko Ioane. The ball gets recycled, but they do lose it under advantage. Foley is forced to take the 3. I'm now going to talk about Andrew Callaway's disallowed try. Australia arrive back in the All Blacks 22 in the 21st minute of the match. We cut to the screen and as we can see, White is able to get clean ball due to backs being in the ruck. With these sacrifices, White has a pod of 3 forwards to pass and Phillip carries. Australia, having watched the mid-year tests, copy a move often used by Ireland, and we see Holloway take carry, passing behind himself to Ikitau. With Foley and Callaway as Ikitau's outside options, they're able to break the line thanks to protection by Slipper and Parecki, who slot in as screens. Though Geordie Barrett is suckered in, Richie Mwanga and Rieko Ioane have reached the play. Now, we cut to the wide shot. Let's have a look at this. Tom Wright is the outside option, and Andrew Callaway, if he passes right here to Tom Wright, that is a try quite easily. Mwanga and Ioane cannot reach him, and if the pass goes one man wider, that's a guaranteed try. But Callaway, he has the hubris to try, pun intended, to score himself. If this was South Africa, we would see good enough teamwork to pass it as wide as possible to secure the points. Callaway, however, gets a bit of the old white line fever and attempts to go himself. Rieko Ioane brilliantly gets his hand underneath the ball as Mwanga makes sure there's no chance of Callaway trying to put the ball back down. Australia do persist with a line out in the 25th minute though. They try to get a maul going somewhere, it just isn't. Jason Ryan's too good of a forwards coach to let the All Blacks do that. They do go wide, however, after the All Blacks don't exactly defend the best out there. Valentini is a powerful runner, he's able to get low, he scores the try. Now for Andrew Callaway's actual first try. The Wallabies once again don't bother with the maul and McWright passes off the maul to White, who has organised the attack. Valentini carries to get some go forward before White passes off the base of the ruck. 4 All Blacks forwards advance against the 3 Wallabies, while Caleb Clark and Beauden Barrett are in the backfield. Despite the advantage though, Foley is marked by Samisoni Taukeiaho, who isn't too quick. With Satutu also drawn in, Taukeiaho has to make the tackle from side on, and as side down tackles usually do not work, Mwanga bites in to help. Foley passed the ball as Taukeiaho does indeed complete the tackle, but as we can see, Callaway's right foot is next to Taukeiaho while he prepares to catch Foley's pass. Callaway's right foot is then in front of Taukeiaho as he catches the ball. Jordan doesn't bother to tackle because he knows knows that Foley is throwing a forward pass, quite clearly a forward pass, as we now see from an alternative angle. This is indeed a smart play by Australia. They've done very well to put the guy in space like this, but if an actual decent ref like Luke Pearce or Ben O'Keefe were running this game rather than Matiu Raynell, I think it's quite safe to say the try would not have been awarded. We're now going to talk a fair bit about the All Blacks defence and kind of a few errors that got made along the way, despite the tackle percentage being acceptable, I guess we'll say. In the 29th minute, Australia's back line are behind the 22 in a pretty simple hands down the line formation. Gordon predictably goes for Foketi and it's held up with ease. However, Foketi being held up is a pre-planned move by Australia, who want him to pass backwards to Samu, who detaches from the ruck and breaks the line. He's able to outpace Tupaia before an excellent try-saving tackle by Jordie Barrett, who proves he is indeed our best fullback. If anyone deserves to have the trust as our last line of defence, yes, it is indeed Jordie Barrett. The All Blacks did have the odd lapse of defensive positioning errors during the match too. As we can see from Callaway's second try, this is purely caused by miscommunication from the team, leading to Australia getting the numbers out wide. We then see a similar thing when it comes to Pete Samu's try. The Wallabies are giving the All Blacks some pretty easy attack to read, and they're able to hold a pretty standard defensive position as Australia recycle the ball. However, we at last see plenty of All Blacks on the left wing, leaving just 4 on the right wing. Fraser McWright runs a pretty bad dummy line towards Rieko Ioane, but Dane Coles is standing far too close to the ruck. Coles has forced Akira Ioane into marking Foketi, who has the ball. With Ioane marking Foketi, his brother has to mark Koroi Beti, and with Jordan on Foley, Peter Samu is the guy at the end of the overlap. Coles and Ioane are unable to drift quickly enough, forcing Jordan to keep his eyes on Callaway. Koroi Beti is used as an unlikely distributor they never see coming, so when Samu gets the ball, Jordan has no chance as he is not a power winger who can tackle Samu. Having a terrible game on defence, he gets swatted away while Beauden Barrett rushes out of line to try and tackle Samu, but he should remain fixed on Koroi Beti. Rieko Ioane, as we can see, is in a decent position to take Samu into touch. Barrett, like Jordan and Coles though, fails to read the play, allowing Samu to get the ball back and score. Australia's defence, I'll do a bit of a touch on that as well. They used some pretty sketchy tactics on that front of the match. We'll go for the first example back when Wright's hands in the ruck were there after Caleb Clark's line break. Silly strategy that's great at giving away penalty attempts. As we can see in the 51st minute though, Wright clearly does this again while off his feet. Australia were probably a bit guilty of collapsing too many mauls. Jake Gordon, for example, is yellow carded at the same time that Wright should have seen red for getting 2 yellow cards. Now in the 51st minute, we'll also have to mention the Wallabies' incredibly poor communication on defence. Taukei'aho's line-out throwing is excellent again, though the maul from 5 metres out is taken out by Darcy Swain while Satutu lands. Taukei'aho detaches from the maul and Scott Barrett fakes wanting to get the pass, causing Foketi to be drawn in by Aaron Smith. Because he fails to stay in his own channel and mark Jordie Barrett, Len Ikitau then has to rush in to mark both Ioane and Jordie Barrett. With both Barrett and Ioane having run some pretty tight lines, Foley has also been suckered in, forgetting Mo'unga as an outside option. Ikitau and Koroi Beti have just got to turnarounds to make the tackle, and this is a soft try creating by nothing but miscommunication from the Wallabies. We'll head back to the freeze frame as Mo'unga collects the pass from Barrett, and with Foley eyeing Mo'unga up after Ioane's dummy line. There's no way that Mo'unga should ever have scored from such a position with 3 Wallabies marking him. We're now going to talk about a few of the match stats, so as we can see to start that off, there's a 50% possession for both teams, and in a lot of the key stats it was pretty much even. One interesting thing though we'll see is the All Blacks had a higher tackle percentage, which is very good for us. We had 82, the Wallabies had 80. Goal kick success, Mo'unga just missed that one guy at the end, whereas Jordie Barrett missed quite a long range penalty. The ruck success, It always seems to happen when we lose under Ian Foster is deficient. We won, and that's thanks to a higher ruck percentage than the opponents. The scrum, we did not fare well in that at all, but everything's okay, we were still able to get the win. Both teams conceded 14 penalties as well, so it truly did come down to the wire, and I think we got to talk about the wee controversy that happened in the end of the match. All these Aussies that is crying at the ref, hurling abuse at him, and yeah, nah mate, Machu Raynell's not a good ref, I'll agree with you there, but let's look at this. He puts the whistle in his mouth to award Australia the penalty at 78 minutes and 24 seconds. Australia then get a bit of a timeout to catch their breaths as there is a bit of a streaker that was heading across. As you can see over here, he was trying to do a bit of a goosey, and then at 79 minutes and 4 seconds he blows the whistle to reverse the penalty against Australia. Excluding that time off for the streaker, Bernard Foley had 40 seconds to kick. As we can see in the World Rugby rules that I have here for you guys, 7 for unfair play. A player must not A. intentionally infringe on any law of the game, B. intentionally knock, place, push or throw the ball with arm or hand from the playing area, C. do anything that may lead the match officials to consider that an opponent has considered an infringement, and D. waste time, sanction, free kick. I'm not sure why the free kick wasn't awarded, but the referee did indeed make the correct decision by reversing the penalty against the Wallabies, and I was so proud of the All Blacks showing the winning mentality by being able to send Geordie Barrett across the line for the winning try. This was a bit of a close game, a bit of outrage has been created by it, so I'm going to go and catch my breath after I guess a bit of the brain exercises I'm having to use to kind of explain everything. Guys, just relax about the ref. We don't have him next week. She'll be right. Thank you so much to my Patreons for your continued support of me, and thank you to my returning subscribers. If you're keen to support me elsewhere, you can visit my own website for opinion journalism. I made a bit of a player ratings article for the All Blacks. If you want to make a one-off donation and you don't want to join Patreon, you can just do a bit of a one-off donation to my PayPal tip jar. I'm also active on Instagram with 18,000 followers, and I am active on Twitter. So thank you very much for your continued support, guys. God bless the lot of you, and hopefully the All Blacks can win the Rugby Championship. Fingers crossed. Let's go.